Speedway Report is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for Racers Reunion Radio. While the forwards are fast in NASCAR Cup, let the whining commence. Indianapolis, the Oval, is now live, and wannabe racers are moving racers out of the way, and they're not impressing me one bit. Well, all this is coming up and more. Welcome to Speedway Report for Monday, May the 13th. Excuse me, this is the 14th, right? Yeah, 14th, 2018, from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. Happy belated Mother's Day to everybody out there. All the moms, we can't say enough things about you beyond Happy Mother's Day. So many things to thank you for and compliment you on and appreciate for you. But thank you for all that you do. I want to say a special thanks to the single dads out there that are doing the job of two, and all the grandparents, family members, neighbors, friends, aunts, uncles that have taken up the title of mom to take care of a child for the sake of a child. It's near and dear to my heart. There's no greater love that you can give to the world than the love to a child and to pay that forward in their life. So all of you have the roles of mom, whatever your official title is. Happy Mother's Day yesterday. Hope it was wonderful for all of you. Let's hit up the Mother's Day edition of the Speedway Report Victory Lane Lap. Run through the winners. Obviously a little bit light, usually is in the world of motorsports, but there was some pretty good racing. We'll tell you all about it. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Tour was in the Midwest at the Kansas Speedway. Kevin Harvick was your winner on Saturday night. The weekend began on Friday evening with the Truck Series event. Noah Gragson, driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, won that event. NASCAR's K&N Pro Series East Tour was up the road from us in Charlotte, about 2 hours to the north in South Boston, Virginia, for their Twin 100s. Tyler Ankrum and Anthony Alfredo split the double century grind events. They tried this format, the Twin 100s, with the West Series a few weeks ago as well. Trying to get some feedback on it, see if the tour likes this idea, if we're going to see more of the twin style racing or stick with the 150 lap race. I'd prefer twin 100s to a 150 with a halfway break. I don't dig a halfway break. Let's run 100. Let's run 125, 150. I'd prefer 200 with a pit stop, but I guess I can't have everything in life. Anyway, Twin 100s up in South Boston. We might touch on this as the summer goes on, as we see as far as a straight-through events or, two features and two separate winners, 2 points, 2 purses, all that. That's cool. I'm up for the twin thing. The long distance with the halfway break. Yeah, not so much. Not too much for me. The Indy cars were on track with the magical month of May as they ran the Indianapolis Grand Prix on Saturday, won by Penske's Will Power. I like the idea of this event in May. It brings back the month of May. May is so important. The month of May in Indianapolis, just how the way it used to be, how it always was. And you can't really do that now. Come in there May 1st and practice straight for every day. You don't have 100 cars that will show up for that anymore. But this brings it back. This brings the month of May back, as we will open up practice for the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow. I digress a little bit, got off track. Formula One cars were in Spain over the weekend in Barcelona. Lewis Hamilton in a Mercedes had his way, giving Ferraris some competition last week. Started on the pole, ran a flawless race, won by a big margin. Much more like the Hamilton and the Mercedes power that we're used to. But we'll see, because Ferrari has shown some pretty good strength. Just didn't have it yesterday to keep up with Mercedes. If there's competition, I'm digging it, which there is. It's not a Mercedes cakewalk, which it has been for several years. Jumping over to the dirt cars, World of Outlaw late models. We're here in North Carolina, out in Fayetteville. The Nightmare, Jimmy Owens, won the first in flight 100, and because it was first in flight, he won $25,001. I kind of dig that. A World of Outlaw sprint cars ran the hashtag Let's Run 2, little doubleheader out in Eldora. Friday and Saturday night, both won by Donnie Schatz. Let's run two. Well, he said, let's win two. He won back-to-back at Eldora Friday and Saturday. And then last night in Haubstadt, Indiana, David Gravel took the A-main late last night. USAC Sprints accompanied the World of Outlaws Sprints. Here's an event I should absolutely get to. Double features for winged and non-winged sprint cars at Eldora. What the heck am I waiting for? Friday night's USAC sprint car feature won by Brady Bacon, and Saturday's A-main taken by Chris Wyndham. The folks up at Grandview, Pennsylvania got rained out. Ernie Saxton sent word that they could not race. But down here, it was nice and sunny and hot. And in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Bowman Gray Stadium hosted twin 25s for the NASCAR Modifieds. Jonathan Brown and Bobby Meismer Jr. split the twin modified features. Well, here we are. We'll start with NASCAR. And we are 12 races into the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Tour. 12 races. It didn't seem like we were just chomping at the bit to get, for Daytona to start, but we're 12 races in. Kevin Harvick has sat in victory lane in 5 of the 12 races. In a few other events, he very easily could be above a 500 average for winning races so far in 2018. This was a big story. This is a big story for a few reasons. One, you don't see this kind of dominance anymore, and you see it out of the Stewart-Haas camp, which are running the Fords. Last year's body have a body for several years, where the Toyotas and the Chevrolets had new bodies for 2018. And lo and behold, here comes the Fords with their old, whatever you want to call it, piece of junk. Pretty darn good, if you ask me. This old body, well, these Chevy guys certainly do not have a handle on their new body, as they're struggling, any of the Chevrolet teams, to even finish in the top 10. It's almost like a win, kind of best in class, the way these guys are racing right now. Which there was the debate in the offseason with the Chevrolet new car coming, as so many folks thought, oh boy, this is going to be a Chevrolet juggernaut. They're going to mow over everybody. Not so the case. Ford's in trouble with this old car. They've got to wait an entire year for a new body style to even compete. So they might as well just throw out 2018, do some R&D work. Not so fast. It seems like the notebook is not complete on the Chevrolet, so they really can't keep up. They're still in the learning phase. They don't know what they're doing. They can't find it with two hands. They don't know. They're still learning. Where Ford's got the notebook from so many years, they know exactly what they're doing. Now, in 2019, they will be getting a new body. So the Ford, you looking forward to that? Yes or no? I don't know. If I was a Ford, I don't know if I'd want to do it. Not that they have a choice, but, I'm going to enjoy 2018 as much as I can. But I don't know. There was talk of this over the wintertime as to what exactly would happen with these new body styles. And there were some people that predicted that this could possibly happen. Most were not. Thought the Ford camp was in trouble. With an older car, they're not going to compete with the newer stuff from General Motors. Well, yeah, just the opposite. There were some folks, I want to call it 60-40, that said, hey, they've got a notebook. Ford has experience. Ford has all the R&D for these bodies and the research that they can launch in and win while Chevrolet struggles with this new body style. That's exactly what's happening. Kevin Harvick, kind of in a league of his own this year, doing the Martin Truex thing that he did last year, where it's tough to dominate, but sometimes one of the teams does step forward and have the advantage, which is what Harvick's team in the 4-car has right now. Speaking of the word advantage, Martin Truex dropped the quote at Kansas Saturday night. Quote, Fords have an unfair advantage. I think he might have just been trying to stir the pot. I hope he was, because I'll certainly fire back at Martin and say, dude, they do not have an unfair advantage. What they have is an advantage. There's nothing unfair about it. We're going to go into tech inspections shortly. Bear with me. But here's the basics of this. I've said this over the years so many times. All the teams present their cars to tech inspection. All the teams have the rule books ahead of time. They all got to pass tech 3 times over the weekend. 4 if you run in the top 3 or top 5 of the race. If you pass every time, how is the advantage unfair? They did a better job. Harvick is better than you right now, Martin. Doesn't matter who you like or who you dislike, but right now the 4 cars, the class of the field. Do we remember saying this about anybody else? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what the 78 car 1 year ago. He was the class of the Cup Series and destined for a championship. Looks that way now. I don't see anyone stepping forward, making that much of a competitive advantage, giving them much of a challenge so far. Granted, we're middle of May, long time to go, lots of racing. Lots of testing, lots of learning, including the Chevrolet teams, not just the Toyotas, but there's no unfair advantage here. There is none whatsoever. It's an advantage, but they're just better than you. They're passing tech, and they've got the older car. So, I don't see how there's an unfair advantage. There is no unfair advantage here. Stop your whining. Get to work on your own stuff. I don't know this, but I could guarantee it. But I would suggest if you looked at lap times from Truex in 2017, his lap times in 2018 are likely faster than he was going last year. And Harvick's just faster than that. He's just better than him right now. So I don't, he dropped the bomb. I don't know if he was snickering at it or trying to get the media pot stirred, but there's certainly no unfair advantage. If you are serious, please stop your crying and work on your car and making it faster. There's nothing unfair about what Stewart-Haas is doing to those cars. Tech inspection itself. Oh my goodness, we've got so many cars not taking qualifying laps anymore because they can't get through tech. There's certain teams that don't have this problem and certain teams that do have this problem, but tech inspection is a story every single race weekend in the Cup garage. I've made my decision about this. We've got too many rules. We've got too many rules, and the tolerance is so tight on these cars. You can't even fix a car at the racetrack anymore. Yes, the crews are capable and smart enough to fix it, but there's no way to fix it at the track in which it could go back through tech. With that laser eye system we have, and we're going on 10,000ths of an inch with these lasers, we're just too many rules. Now, isn't that not a microcosm of everything that has destroyed NASCAR in the last 14 years? Too many rules. Too many rules. From the chase, the playoffs, the stages, the chase, the playoffs. Did I mention the chase and the playoffs? Yeah, the biggest gimmick there was, if ever there was a championship. But that type of attitude has carried over to tech inspection. I heard Rusty Wallace on a radio interview this afternoon, and he said we used to have a half-inch tolerance on these cars back when they built them, and we took raw hunks of metal off the shelf, and we built cars. We had a half an inch of tolerance, and we had fantastic races. And he's right. We had great racing. The more aero we brought into the sport, the worse the racing became. When those old boxes from the 70s and the 80s would race, gosh, they were good racing on bias ply tires. We got radial tires in these slick aerodynamic downforce engineered marvels, and we've struggled to have good racing, especially on the 1.5-mile tracks and the 2-mile tracks. We have too many rules, and trying to get these cars through these 10,000th of an inch laser leveling system, it's too much. It's too much. Relax the rules. Let these guys bend it. Now, the Twisted Sister was stupid looking, those cars. I'd go back way before that, but seriously, we really got to draw this sport back to the 90s in some respects. It's right there. It's terrible how it is that so many teams are just not making it through tech inspection on Friday. They're not even taking a qualifying lap because they can't get through tech. They're being penalized. They're losing key personnel. We're talking lasers and lights on 10,000ths of an inch. How is this making the racing any better? Back to Wallace's quote. We had half-inch tolerance in some places, and we had good racing. Well, Stewart-Haas has the unfair advantage to Truex. They don't have it's not unfair to me, just an advantage. Good work for them. The other end of their garage, not the NASCAR side of the shop in Kannapolis, but the Formula One side shop in Kannapolis, does not have an advantage at all. If you watched the Spanish Grand Prix yesterday and watched the start from Barcelona, I wanted to flip Romain Grosjean upside his head with a little smack. I said, bro, what are you doing? It was, I don't know what happened yesterday. He went around right in, what was it, the fourth corner? It knocked out 4 cars before one lap was complete. Really want to smack him upside the head for that one. And I got to admit, looking at Gunther Steiner crying on the scoring monitor, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You didn't know NASCAR too much and you're struggling with Formula One. There's a little bit of leftover there from 10 years ago from the NASCAR days when he was over here in the United States dealing with Red Bull. But the team principal at Haas, and I don't know, you're not going to get any better with that combination of folks. Now, Grosjean, I've seen him have some strong patches of brightness, seen him have a lot of potential, but just you don't see that kind of a pileup that, where the guy just loops around, goes around. These long straights with these standing starts and heading into these hairpins, you'll see nose cones get shattered, wheels get taken off, usually front to rear contact where it's just funneling down. The 10 gallons of stuff into the 5-gallon bucket was just a lot of these standing starts, long straightaway into a hairpin corner. That happens. When you make it through 2-3 and you're into corner 4, and you just loop it around with the traction control and the grip that's on the Formula One cars. They just don't get that or what happened, especially to the Haas cars. In spite of Steiner being there, I got to root for the home team, the American boys. I like that. Kevin Magnussen did get a top 10, so he got some points for Haas in the Constructors' Championship. That's good with a 6th place finish yesterday. Believe it or not, the Kansas NASCAR race was far better than the Spanish Formula One race. I tell you what, we've lost NBC's coverage and Speed's coverage and Fox's and all that over the years. And ESPN carries it now, but they just pick up the Sky Sports feed from London. And it's really starting to grow on me. How I originally missed the American booth, the American commentators, with Lee Diffie, David Hobbs, Steve Matchett. Granted, they're not Americans, but they were here in the States broadcasting for our network. Now we're just picking up Sky Sports, which is what ESPN is doing. I am liking it more and more. I miss my guys, I really do, but the coverage of being on site, on track as they speak during the production and picking up their feed, I'm liking it. I'm liking Martin Brundle a little bit better each time. Now, he's been doing this for years as an analyst, but, we haven't seen him. I never watched Sky Sports before until now when ESPN picked it up, but NBC, SN, as well as, FS1, FS2, Speed over the years before that. We never saw it. We saw their video, but we didn't hear the commentary. Now, I'm becoming a little bit more of a Sky Sports fan as the weeks go on. And sticking with open wheels, hallelujah, it is May 14th. Indianapolis, the oval is open tomorrow. We had testing last week to end April and the 1st of May. Tomorrow at the Brickyard, veteran practice at 11 a.m. Rookies will go from 1 to 4, and then we'll pick up 4 o'clock until the rest of the day, 5 or 6, with open Indy 500 practice. This weekend, we qualify for the greatest spectacle in racing. Time trials Saturday that will separate the top 9 from the rest of the field, and the field, the order of the grid will be determined Sunday. Positions 10 through 33. Bumping will happen. There's more than 33 entries. It's taken a lot of years to get us back here. And then the Fast 9 will go for the pole late in the day on Sunday. They had the Grand Prix yesterday, as I talked about earlier. This kind of brings back the month of May. I've been a fan of this event. No, we're not going to relive or rebuild or somehow bring back to life the glory years where 250,000 people showed up for pole day 2 weeks before the race. Times have changed. I can't turn back the hands of time, but we can work on 2018 as best that we can. The Grand Prix was there. It was an interesting race from a technical aspect. The side-by-side barn burner of a finish that kept you on the edge of your seat, no, wasn't like that. Much like the Spanish Grand Prix in Formula One. The technical aspect of it was very good. The side-by-side battles were not just how the race played out. I'm okay with that, as opposed to throwing in a gimmick that tightens everybody up, much like NASCAR likes to do. I'd rather it play out. So if the race wasn't a Hall of Fame, not every race can be Craven and Busch coming down for the finish at Darlington. I'm okay with that if it plays out naturally. I am a fan of the Grand Prix. Some folks are poking holes at it. The attendance, yeah, I don't know what a good attendance would be for a race like that. There were empty spots in the grandstands. I know a lot of the grandstands weren't open. There were certain sections that were just open for ticket buyers. So I don't know how the crowd is for that Grand Prix on the road course versus years past. But I'm thankful that some form brings the month of May back to Indianapolis. No, it's not 1975 anymore in the glory years. I know, but compared to where we were 10 years ago, it's a whole lot better. It is a whole lot better, and I love to see IndyCar on the rise. And I'm missing Fernando Alonso. He was such a big splash last year. I loved having him a part of the 500. A guy like him, I expect him to be back for years in the future. I expect him to not have run his last 500. I expect him to come back, but I'm missing him. Looking forward to getting to the track next week. Real excited about that. Set to go for the Indy 500, for the Little 500 in Anderson with the sprint cars. I'll be up there for the weekend, long weekend. Lots of stuff planned around the Indy cars for next week. I had some rubbing his racing excuses flow out of short tracks again. Derek Stoltz and Tommy Neal, two of the biggest names in the sportsman class at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem. We got into blocking and moving guys and who was faster and who used the bumper. I'm a fan of the bumper and of moving a guy. If he's blocking you, you make a stab at him. He blocks, you let off. He's got the spot. He's a leader. You try again. He blocks you. You leave the bumper in there. Too bad. You can't block me all day long. Quote from one of the K&N Pro Series East winners. La-di-da. I'm looking for a little bit here. I wanted to read it to you guys. Who was it? Anthony Alfredo. He won that second 100 at South Boston Speedway for the East cars. Quote, I got to his bumper in 3 and 4 coming to the white. Quote, so I moved him. We were racing hard for the win. You got to do what you got to do. We came from dead last, so I wasn't going to cut these guys short, especially with how hard they worked. Look, dude, everybody's crew works hard. You came from last to second. That's a fast car. You got to do what you got to do. We all know, I'll go back to the Bugsy Stevens quote, you don't do what you got to do. You did what you wanted to do. Moving a guy out of the way, I'm not a fan. That's not racing. Don't quote rubbing is racing. Sorry, no sympathy here for you on the rubbing is racing deal. And bad news, tough news out of Caraway Speedway came out earlier today. Long historic short track here in Asheboro, North Carolina. They are dropping their weekly racing program and will go to a specials only program the rest of the year. At least the track is surviving. I'd love to see it stronger on the weekly side of things. That would be great. But, tough times for an American stock car short track. I'm thankful they're not closing it down, but I'm sad to see their weekly racing go. Check their website for their specials for the end of the year. Their next race, or their next big one anyway, I believe it's July 7th. The modifieds will be there as long as the late models. Their traditional 4th of July Independence Day weekend spectacular there. Guys, in between our broadcast, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. This broadcast and our past shows are uploaded to the site. We also have racing articles to read, so grab yourself a podcast and some reading material on your way to the racetrack. We've got uploads of this broadcast and past episodes. Where can you watch our archives? I get this question a lot. Whole list of places. We're on Facebook, right here on the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds page. We're on the Racers Reunion Facebook page. Jump over to Twitter. We're on @Speedway Report and @Speedway Pat. They're uploaded there. RacersReunion.com. We put those podcasts in the forum on the website I just mentioned, SpeedwayReport.com. Plus, me personally, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google+. I pump my own name, and we started a YouTube channel several weeks ago, so you can look for Speedway Report on there. Big thanks to everyone on the Facebook Live feed for joining on our conversation tonight. I will get back to you guys shortly. Whether you agreed or disagreed with me, I'm grateful you tuned in tonight and watched the show. I respect your opinions. Thank you very much. I'll check them out here shortly. And don't forget, always support your local tracks. So head out to one of your tracks this weekend. Big thanks to the military, past and present, for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. On the Drag Racing List Facebook page next is Racing and Rockin' with draglist.com. BP, JB, and BS have our special guest, jet car driver Ken Hall from Hanna Motorsports. We will be back next week with a brand new upload and a look at NASCAR's All-Star Weekend, the Indy 500 qualifying grid, NHRA in Kansas, short tracks, and a whole lot more. Thank you all for joining us. I'll see you next time.